Okay, guys, welcome to the Racing Breaks Dublin Racing Festival review. Ruby, what a 2 days it was at Leopardstown. How did you find it?
I thought it was great 2 days, Bash. Thought it was great racing. Thought it was great atmosphere. I think, or I hope, it was a good customer experience. Everyone I met seemed to be enjoying themselves anyway, and had a great day on Saturday. Sunday, the big climax became the anticlimax. But hey, I guess that's sport, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I did think it was two wonderful days racing, and I hope everyone enjoyed themselves.
Yeah, no, it was a fantastic weekend from start to finish. Even the preview on the Friday night was good fun, and we had some fantastic racing. So we're going to quickly just look through some of the grade ones and the big winners, and we will start with the opening race of the Dublin Racing Festival, the Nathaniel Lacey and Partners Solicitors Novices Hurdle, which was of course won by Final Demand, who is very impressive, Ruby.
Yeah, he was very impressive. He settled really well as well, Bash. Nice to see him switching off. It was 2 miles and six. He was up a furlong from Limerick, but he settled really well. He jumped really well, and he was an impressive winner. Now, Willie is talking about going to the Turners with him at Cheltenham, which is 2 miles and five furlongs. So that should suit him ideally. He's a big, placid individual. I saw him yesterday morning in Willie's. He looks well after his race. David Porter, who usually rides him, was on him. But look, he travelled through the race. He jumped. And look, he's still a relatively inexperienced horse, Bash, so there's no reason he shouldn't be improving.
Sure. And when you say Willie's, looking at the Turners, is what would happen for him to say change his mind and go towards the Bartlett? Like, is there any is
I don't think there
really?
is. I don't think there is. I mean, with Willie Bash, it's always about the overall development of the horse. And at the moment, he thinks Final Demand has the pace, and he's a tall, light individual. I'd say as long as he could keep him at that distance, he'd be keen to keep him shorter rather than step him up to 3 miles. He'd be afraid of, I suppose, emptying him out. He doesn't want to.
Sure.
So he'd be staying at the middle distance if he could.
So my 7-1 slip for the Albert Bartlett, which I thought was a golden ticket, is now in the bin, possibly.
Uh, Look, nothing is impossible, but I think you're going to need a bit of luck for that one, Bash.
Yeah, fair enough, fair enough. I thought one to note to take out the race was Wingman, who's up there dictating the pace, was only I think it was 9 lengths back from Final Demand, but was 5.5 lengths clear of the third. But yeah, Final Demand looks very, very impressive. And talking of impressive, I thought it was an impressive ride from Keith Donoghue on Hello Neighbour to win the second race of the day, Ruby. Lovely sort of patient ride.
Yeah, and Gavin Cromwell was very bullish on Hello Neighbour, Bash, and I couldn't believe listening to it after that was so long since Gavin had trained a Grade One winner over
Yeah,
in
crazy.
Ireland. I'd have lost on that one, but Hello Neighbour definitely settled better than he did at Christmas. He jumped really well. He's relatively inexperienced horse, only his second start over hurdles and only the two runs on the flat. But I was impressed with him. I suppose when you're looking at this picture, no matter what happens on any one given day, you're thinking about the opposition that way down the line, aren't you? And I
Yeah.
think we're all guilty of that. And East India Dock and Lulamba lie in wait for this fella. I've become a convert to the East India Dock fan group, and I think that'll be a great race in 5 weeks' time. Look, Hello Neighbours, definitely horses improving. Gavin doesn't hide his admiration of him. I think that has to be listened to. Galileo Dame ran a blinder in second. She's going to have an entry too in the Mayor's Novice Hurdle at Cheltenham Bash. I believe Lady Vega Allen again was behind Hello Neighbour. So that form pretty much stacked up from Christmas, although Hello Neighbour was a little bit further ahead of Lady Vega Allen. Some of the others were a little bit disappointing in behind, but Hello Neighbour, he's a fair horse. I think he just has to improve again, though, for
Sure.
Cheltenham, which he could do. There's no doubt he could.
Yeah, because I mean, I backed Hello Neighbour, and I thought coming to the last, this would be a 5+ lengths. But he didn't really find as much as what I thought. But still looks promising, and as you say, one that could possibly turn up in the Triumph. 9-2 at the moment, but yeah,
Yeah,
Galileo, Dame, yeah, go on, Ruby.
that said, I know he's a 10 furlong winner on the flat, but he is a mile and six winner on the flat as well. It wasn't a
Sure.
strongly run race, so it might have been harder to get away from the field
Okay.
than you thought.
Okay. Sure. And for those of you that listened to Galileo Dame that ran a massive race, I think it was last coming around the home bend and was only beaten 3/4 of a length, 16-1 for the Mes novice hurdle at Cheltenham. The 225 will give a quick mention. A certain Ted Welsh trained at Gaith Cool. I thought you were going to have a winner there, Ruby, but Percival Lagawa, some horse round Leopardstown.
He loves it around Leopardstown, doesn't he?
Does,
Great
yeah.
again for Gavin Cromwell and for Mark Walsh, with a couple of nice winners too with McGlory in the handicap hurdle on Sunday evening. But yeah, Gay Cool ran a blinder. Thought Josh Williamson gave her a lovely ride, but the handicapper has her just about spot on, and she's
Yeah.
vulnerable to horses that might be ahead of him.
Oh yeah, but it was a cracking race. And talking of cracking races, the Irish Arkle did not disappoint. You were very, very bullish about Marlborough on the Friday evening at the preview. Some sketchy jumps, but the engine is massive.
Yeah, novice, I suppose, jumping more so than sketchy. Um, it wasn't always in sync with Mark, but that said, it was probably the fastest he'd gone over fences as well.
Okay.
And I thought he did when he lost it a little bit in the middle of the race. I thought he did well to get himself back on an even keel. That jump at the third last fence was outstanding. I thought he was good at the second last, quickened up to the bend, and loved the way he lengthened again from the last home. It was a really good performance. It's only the fifth start of his career. Touch Me Not set a fair enough standard, having finished second. Or was he second or third? Second to Load the Sud, wasn't he? That Sandown in the
Yeah.
Henry VIII back in December time. He'd beaten 3 lengths on that occasion. He's beaten 6 here by Majbra. Jana Paul Lapan ran on well to be fourth. Lead Atlantique was really disappointing. I wondered did it just come too soon for Lead Atlantique. He looked flat and
Yeah.
didn't jump great. Didn't jump like at all. He can jump. So I was disappointed with Lead Atlantique, but I thought Majbra much better. Really good performance from him. And you're kind of hoping, Bash, that something would bat the court, or bat the bus
Sure.
back into Sergino's court.
Yeah.
I think Majbra did. We'll see Sergino this weekend. So, it's shaping for a really exciting Arkle come March time. I hope
Yeah.
Sergino goes to Newbury, Lotus Sud goes to Warwick, and the three of them line up in the Arkle, and we have a
Yeah.
humdinger.
I think that's the plan. I think I'm off to Warwick this Saturday. I'm sure Lloyd is going there and Sergino is going to Newbury, as you said. But yeah, cracking race in Marlborough. Some horse, some horse. And talking of some horses, I think in apart from being an owner, watching Galloping Deschamps come back into the winners' enclosure is up there with one of my favourite ever memories at a racecourse. It was something special, wasn't it?
It was a great scene, and it was Cheltenham-esque. You know, the back of the grandstand all around the winners' enclosure. It was just a really good reception for a wonderful horse. And he just keeps delivering, doesn't he? And I think he made it exciting. I think Paul made it exciting. I thought he got a
Sure.
really good ride, but he dictated the race. He didn't go that hard. He kept building up through the tempo through the race, and brilliant jumper, solid, and third Irish Gold Cup, beating them in the third Boodle Shelton Gold Cup. He's just ticking all the right boxes, and it was great to see the reception, the atmosphere, the crowd, the adulation. It was, yeah, it was brilliant, wasn't it?
Yeah, oh, it's fantastic. We were in the premium seats at the top, and to try and get from there to the winners' enclosure, it was a stampede. People pushing people out the way. I was stood on a bench. Every bit of tarmac, there was someone stood there, and I think that's what racing's all about. People appreciating a proper champion, which is what Galopin des Champs is. And do you think there's any horse that could beat him in March?
Sure, anything can go wrong, but no, I don't. I think he's the best horse in training in the ultimate division, which is the Gold Cup division. So, no, I think he's the best. He just needs average luck. I thought Greyish Clare West ran really well. I thought Factifile had no real excuse. And I think behind that, then you probably had some Grand National horses. So, I think I just think he's the best horse. I don't see a horse in the UK that can beat him, and I don't see one in Ireland. Look, he just needs average luck, and hopefully he'll have it.
Oh, that'd be fantastic. Three Gold Cups. Talking about Factifile, do you think he now sidesteps the Gold Cup and heads to the Ryanair?
I don't know. I don't know. It's a tricky one. Twice he's tried now over 3 miles to beat Gallopin des Champs. He obviously beat him over 2.5 at Punchestown
Yeah.
earlier in the season, but you're kind of looking at Factifile's form and thinking, well, his best two performances probably are that John Durkin and his win here at the Dublin Racing Festival last year, which was over 2 miles and 5. So I wonder, is the middle distance or the intermediate trip just the best distance for Factifile? It possibly could be.
Yeah, fair enough, fair enough. And talking of ones to note there, as you said, Ruby, a couple national horses. I know the way you're thinking. Finished fourth under quite a quiet ride. I think could be Irish national bound, could be English national bound, but definitely one to keep an eye out for.
I thought
Um,
half a length behind him, Monty Star, because Henry's horse is just not bombing. and I thought he ran really well for a yard. That's definitely not going as well
Sure.
as it could be going.
Yeah, no, sure. And the last race on day one, the bumper, Cole Cannon, very impressive in the bumper there, Ruby.
Yeah, beat Sortudo. He can't dance. Cocktail Brute and Green Splendor. He was a few disappointments in there, but no meat is always like Carl Cannon. And if you're into mashed potatoes and a bit of cabbage, maybe you back Carl Cannon.
Love that, love that. Cool. So that rounds up day one. Day two, we will start things off with the Ladbrokes Novice Chase. One of my favourite horses, Ballyburn. He got the job done. I thought he travelled and jumped a lot better. He looks a lot more comfortable over this trip and pace, doesn't he, Ruby?
I thought the very same, Bash. I thought he was much easier to watch him racing at this distance. You kind of always felt you knew what he was going to do with the jumps. Even watching
Yeah,
him, let alone what it felt like on his back. But to watch, you kind of thought, yeah, he knows what he's at this speed.
sure.
I loved what he did from the last fence home, how he knuckled down to battle back in Big Crow Park. Was slightly disappointed with Impere Pass. He looked like he got quite lonely on his own, and maybe some headgear might help him in the future. But I thought Ballyburn stuck his hand up for what could be a deep division in the Brown Advisory. But I thought he really stuck his hand up, and I was impressed with him, I must say.
Yeah. Sure, and I always love to watch the body language of the jockey. And I feel like Paul never thought he was getting beat either. Like he didn't, he's just sort of encouraging just to lengthen clear. Like I think there was a lot left under the tank
I hope there
rather than
was.
what we. Yeah, let's fingers crossed, fingers crossed. Okie dokie. Talking of superstar performances, we could have seen a new superstar on the block with Kopek de Boards in the 140, the Ireland Novices Hurdle. Ruby, were you expecting that kind of performance?
We were hoping he'd win, Bash, but no, I wasn't expecting a performance like that. Obviously, his jumping improved considerably from Christmas time. He was a little bit keen, but I don't think the race was run at that strong a pace. But that said, he put a lot of ground between himself and the opposition. I mean, from Kopek the board to Carnique, it was 13 lengths. There was 9 back to Good and Clever now then, which was 23 lengths in total. K Doughty was a further 5.5 behind, which is 27 and a bit lengths. And then you had to go back to Sia Sands and Blue Devassi. So, like, there was huge distances from first all the way back down to fifth or sixth. It was a really good performance. I didn't think it was a strongly run race, but you just loved the way this fella did it. How he opened up off the bend. He was relentless from 2 out to the line, and his jumping was much more solid. If there's a negative for him, it's not a negative, but a kind of a word of caution more so. He is a horse that does seem to get a little bit worked up. There's a bit of nervous energy there. He's still a very young horse. He's unexposed, but that nervous energy at somewhere like Cheltenham will need to be try to manage it. You can't manage it as such, but
Sure.
you try and keep him as relaxed as he can. He'll be away from home, being a stable yard, a different stable yard for a couple of days. So that'll be a little bit new for him. So hopefully he's able to cope with that.
Yeah, I was going to say I didn't think he over raced, but he was plenty keen enough. And I wondered if that loose horse could have lit him up. But
So did I. I think, oh, don't carry him out, don't carry him out. But
yeah,
he was, yeah, he's just a bit too exuberant, wasn't he, early in
sure.
the
And would you say a horse like that would be better suited to a Supreme?
stronger gallop? It definitely suit him.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would think so, yeah.
Okie dokie. Well, I think we're getting even money. I think is best price, but he definitely looks special and some passionate owners after us, which you want to
Mm,
see.
they enjoyed it, didn't they?
Yeah, they are. That's what it's all about. Uh, okay, the Ladbrokes Dublin Chase here. A peach of a ride from Danny Mullins on Solness. Did he just ride the others to sleep, or was Solness just head and shoulders better than them?
Um, I'd say the best horse won the race. I
Okay,
think when you look at it from the third fence to the fourth fence was probably where Danny won the race, but he was going hard. And
sure.
the guys behind made a conscious decision not to quite go the speed Danny was going. But even the speed bash to the second fence, third fence, and to the fourth, like that was a really hot part of the race. Solidus knew what he was doing. He was really professional with his jumping. Obviously, Il Fabiola fell at the second. The pace was really hot that down there to the fourth fence. And even at the fourth fence, Solidus pinged it. Marine National missed it. Gaelic Warrior jumped it well, but he looked to be going. Paul had decided he was going as fast as he wanted to go. And I can see both sides of the coin here. Like Danny was rolling the dice. I could see that people didn't follow him, but they couldn't get him back, which is always a good sign,
Sure.
or a good sign for solidness. And I loved how he kept going. And I think actually the third last fence was key as well. I think if Marine National pinged the third last fence, he would have found it much easier to close down uh, Sonless in front, but he missed the third last, and then he had to go after him. Gaelic Warrior was the big disappointment. Not so sure he needs that hood. I'd nearly be taking it off him. But Sonless, how he grounded out from the last home, deserves a lot of credit.
Sure. Do you still think there's question marks over Gaelic Warriors' preferred trip?
Yeah. What is it?
Yeah, no one knows really. Do you think they're the champion? Is it all routes champion chase still?
Right. I'm not sure. We haven't got around to talking about it, but he's turning into a bit of a head scratcher, isn't
Sure. And how is El Fabiolo after the fall?
he? He seems fine. Plan is maybe to go to the Red Mills on Saturday week, so we'll see what happens.
Okay. Oh, interesting, interesting. Yeah, as you said, Ruby, at the start, we were all looking for a big clash in the Irish champion hurdle, State Man against Lossiemouth. It looked halfway round. You thought we're in for a proper firecracker here, and she. Oh, what went wrong? Did she just not look at the hurdle, or did she meet on the wrong
He
stride?
just no, she wasn't on the wrong stride. She just pricked her ears and then didn't look to take off. I don't know. Um, what went wrong? Was she looking at something else? Did something else take her eye? I'm not sure, Bash. I've watched it loads of times and I can't really figure out what exactly happened. But and in another sense, it was probably a furlong and a half too soon
Sure.
to know which
Yeah.
maybe the ball was starting or the
Yeah.
was starting to swing. Both looked to be really happy. Now they'd gone quick. They had gone a strong gallop, but they're champion hurdle horses. They're capable of doing that.
Sure.
Had jumped and they were running and they had steadied up before she fell. They had pulled it back a little bit. The fastest furlongs were the third and fifth, and it slowed through furlong 6, 7, 8, 9, and then she fell between 9 and 10. But I don't know. It was disappointing for everybody. The mare got up. She's obviously a bit stiff on Monday. This is now Wednesday, but look, she'll be fine. Statement came home alone, and it's impossible to judge him then even. Like,
Sure.
he's left on his own, and he kind of saunters around. Paul lets him slow it down. They're trying to build up a bit more speed then again. So look, it was Statement has won the third champion hurdle. It's as simple as that. But
Yeah.
was it a race everyone wanted to watch? No. But hey, you go to soccer matches, one team is 3-0 up after 15 minutes and it's over as well. That's
Yeah.
just sport.
That's true. That's true. And I think Willie Mullins has since come out and said the plan is still to go for the champion hurdle with Lossiemouth. I think that the thing that I took from it is at the Christmas hurdle, everyone said, "Oh, she's not a 2 miler. She can't go the pace." They went a hell of a pace in that early part. So
I think the Christmas hurdle taught her, Bash,
sure,
Sharon, you know what I mean? And she's not short of stamina. She's won a couple of times over 2.5. She's a Triumph hurdle winner. She's no shortage of stamina. So even though her pedigree suggests she's very fat, or should be fast, she doesn't lack stamina. But look, who knows what's going to happen, or what would have happened, what might have happened, and we're never going to find out. But Statement is still the winner, and that's what sport's about.
that's it. That's it. They'll just have to both take each other on again in March, and then we'll find out. But for those of you that were with us at the Clayton Leopardstown on the Friday evening, would have heard Ruby very what's the word, Ruby? Exuberant about the chances of McClawley, and surely agreed and went in for favourite backers. Looks like he could have another big day in him. 6-1 for the county hurdle. Had to make up quite a lot of ground and still won snugly enough.
He did win snug in the end, didn't he? Won off a mark of 120. He got an official rise of £13 for it to 133. I still think he's ahead of the handicapper, Bash.
Yeah, and do you think it would be the county he'd go?
I'm not. I don't know.
Okay,
It would look the obvious race, but he obviously could sneak into the bottom of the Martin Pipe as well.
okay.
Not so sure, but the Coral Cup possibly. His bike jukebox jury. I don't think there's any doubt about his stamina. He did win a point and has run over 2.5 in the past, so stamina wouldn't be any issue for him. But look, he's ahead of the handicapper, and wherever turns up, you'd want him on your side.
You would indeed. And one thing we mentioned is that there hasn't really been an Irish horse to put their hat in the ring for the champion bumper at Cheltenham. Do you think Bambino Fever has done that?
I thought she did, and another winner for jukebox jury too on the day. I do think she is. I thought she looked like a mare physically that could improve for the experience. I thought she took up a bit fitness wise, and look, she's had the 3 starts. I think she's won all three. She did win a point, didn't she? And she won a pumper, a bumper at Punchestown then on New Year's Eve. So, she's three from three, and I'd say she's an exciting mare for the future.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it was a fantastic weekend. I hope you guys all enjoyed it as much as myself and Ruby did. And if you want to join us for next year, if you use code Ruby10, you will get 10% off the 2026 Dublin Racing Festival packages and also for the 2025 Cheltenham Festival packages. Again, just use Ruby10. Ruby, if you had to take three horses from the Dublin Racing Festival that you'd want to be riding at the Cheltenham Festival, who would they be?
Cut pick the board.
Yep.
Final demand.
Yep.
Gallop in the shop.
Galloping de Chance. Well, there you go. Well, that's it. Thank you very much for joining us. This has been the Racing Breaks Dublin Racing Festival review with the Basher Watts Racing Syndicate. If you'd like to start your journey as a racehorse owner, please head over to basherwattsracing.com. But Ruby, thank you very much. And I suppose the next time we see you will be Cheltenham.
Possibly, Bash. Yeah, looking forward to it.
We'll see you all there.